Hey guys, welcome to lesson 69 and 70. Okay, in 69, you're using the ideal gas law. Remember we did that in chemistry before this whole thing started, in science class before this whole quarantine and COVID thing started. Okay, so P is pressure, V is volume, T is temperature. In these, what they're gonna have you do is they're gonna have you solve for one of them first. It's the one that they're trying to find. Because I'll show you exactly why that is important. Usually I don't do that. Like let's say they give you like a number here, this is 3, this is 5, this is 2, this is 4, this is 3, and they want to find P2. I'll put all the numbers in there and then find P2 by manipulating the formula. But they want you to manipulate the formula first to solve the whole thing for P2 so that you don't miss any numbers or get confused. And that's super important here because you're working with scientific notation. So you don't want to be moving scientific notation around and manipulating it because then it could become a mess. Okay, so here we go. Let's do what they say to do, right? A quantity of an ideal gas had initial values of pressure, volume, and temperature of 40 times 10, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they're going to give you all these numbers. And look what it says. The 40, the 0.0003, and the 700 respectively. Respectively means that the pressure, volume, and temperature are in order. That means pressure is the 40 times 10 to the 4th. Volume is 0.003 times 10 to the negative 6. And temperature is 700 times 10 to the 4th. So it says find the final temperature if the final pressure was this, the atmosphere, and the final volume was this. Begin by solving the equation for T2 because that's what they're looking for. It says find the final temperature. Final temperature is the second temperature, so that's T2. So let's do that first. Let's take our equation and solve for T2. Well, I'm going to crisscross and multiply. That's what I'm going to do on this one, okay? I don't want to really mess with this formula so much because we're going to be using it the whole time. But I'm going to crisscross and multiply, so I have T2 P1 V1 equals T1 P2 V2. Then I need to get this off of the T2, so I'm going to divide by P1 V1. So now all of a sudden I have T2. It's solved for. Okay, now I can substitute in. My T1 is the third number that they give you, 700 times 10 to the 4th. My P2, that's the second P they give you, is 0.0004 times 10 to the 15. Make sure you're writing down all your numbers because it's very easy to get confused and miss 1 0 or something like that. And then your V2 is 0.015 times 10 to the negative 14. Okay? Then over P1, your first P is 40 times 10 to the 4th. And your V1 was 0.0003 times 10 to the negative 6. Okay, so that is your equation. Now you can see why you don't want to put the numbers in first and then manipulate. You want to manipulate first and then put in the numbers. Then, like your lesson was yesterday, all you have to do is put that all in your calculator. You should get something like 3, 5, and 5 zeros. And in the end, you need to write it in scientific notation because that's how you do scientific numbers. And you should get 3.56 times 10 to the 6th. Okay? Okay, 69.2. Ooh. Example 2, let's see. Okay, example 2 says a quantity of ideal gas had initial values of blah, 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 blah. What are we solving for? Find P2. Okay, so we need to solve this for P2 first. Okay, I'm going to crisscross and multiply again first. I think that's going to be the easiest thing to do for every single time. And now this time we're just going to, yeah, no, I'm right. We're going to take these two things off of P2. So that's T1 and V2. Okay, and now that's our equation. Okay, so here we go. It has initial values of this, and this. Okay, they don't tell you what those are, but let's look at it. Pounds over inches squared is going to be your pressure, okay? Because we know that centimeters cubed is volume, and we know that Kelvins is temperature. So the very first number that they give you is pressure 1, which is right there. But we need T2. So the final temperature was 0.003 times 10 to the 7th. Okay? The first pressure is 0.003 times 10 to the 14. And V1 was 0.007. That's it. All over T1 is 7,000 times V2, which is going to be final volume, which is 3 times 10 to the 2nd. Okay? Now what I would do is do this times this times this equals divided by parentheses 7,000 times 3 times 10 to the 2nd, close parentheses, equal. Okay, and that's how I would get it in my calculator. Remember, best to do it 2 times in your calculator, make sure you're getting the right answer, and make sure that you're not doing your parentheses wrong. By the time that you get that, you should get 3 times 10 to the 7th as your answer. Okay? Basically, this is a pretty straightforward lesson. Just follow the formula. However, what you need to, one, be able to do is tell yourself what your temperature, pressure, and volume is. 2, you need to make sure you're crisscrossing, multiplying, and manipulating the formula right. And 3, you need to make sure that you remember that your final temperature is the 2. T2, P2, V2, in case it doesn't spell it out for you like that. Okay? Look at lesson 70, example 1. You can look at these always and say like, oh, I think that I could do this, it'll be very easy. And yes, I think that you can do it, and I think it'll be very easy. The only reason why I'm going to be doing it on a video for you is because sometimes you get like, we can all get dudosos of the rules that we're using for algebra, and like, okay, are we allowed to do that? What should we do? What's the best strategy, etc., right? Look what it says. It says solve for B. Ooh, that's going to be fun, because that's like all the way over here in some kind of parentheses denominator thing, and where you have X right there. So very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a common denominator here, okay? What do they do in the book? Do they get a common denominator? Looks like yes. They distribute first. I'm going to distribute at the end. I don't think it really matters, this P. I get A and B, right? So this one's spelled to the B. This one's spelled to the A, so we have NA, okay? And then I can distribute the P. So X equals PB plus PMA all over AB, right? Okay, then I'm going to bring my AB up here to be done with fractions. Okay, so I'm going to be ABX and take this away. Okay? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move any other term over here that has B in it over here, so that I can factor it out, so that I have every variable that has a B in it on one side. Okay, so I'm going to move this over here. So it's going to be ABX minus PB equals PMA, right? Now I'm going to take out my B's. These both have a B in common, so I'm going to say B times AX minus P equals PMA. And now I can take this and divide it over here, and that should be my answer. And it is, okay? So that's all you do for example 1. Are there other ways to do it? Of course there are. Okay, you can do it any way that you're using your algebra rules correctly. And the way that, if it pops in your head to do it a different way, you might see it a completely different way, believe me. In every math class I've had, you guys find different, you look at things different ways sometimes. And sometimes you might look at me and be like, Ms. Jessica, I completely don't understand where you came from with that, but I do have a way to do it. Okay, so you can do it that way. Okay, this one's going to be fun. We're solving for C. This one's going to be totally crazy. Okay, I'm going to stick with my strategy and do my common denominator first. So it's going to be P times 1 plus C This one just needs the P. This one needs the 1 plus C, like that. I'm going to distribute that, so that's going to be A plus AC. Okay, then I'm going to distribute my M, equals XP, okay? Now I'm going to crisscross and multiply this and this. Which means the first thing I'm going to do as well is I'm going to distribute this before it gets really confusing. So P and CP. This times XP. XP times P is going to give me XP squared plus XP times this is going to give me CXP squared equals M, all this stuff up here, MVP plus MA plus MAC. Okay? We are solving for C, remember? So we need to get everything over here that has a C and everything that doesn't over there. So over here I'm going to keep CXP squared minus MAC. So that's off of this one. And then I'm going to move this over here. That's minus XP squared. Okay? So now this is gone. So here we have equals MVP plus MA minus XP squared. Okay? Whew. Then I'm going to take out my C, factor it out. So you have left XP squared minus MA equals all of that. So I'm just going to take this and divide it over here. XP squared minus MA. Check my answer and it's right. It's crazy, but it's right. Okay? And that is your lesson. Again, let me know. I'm making these lessons on Saturday, so if you told me on Monday that you wanted practices, I already made the video for Tuesday, so I'll go back to practices if you tell me you want them. Okay, bye guys.